Hello and welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. We have got so much to get into on the show this morning. But before we do that, please do me a small favour. If you are watching the channel for the first time today, don't forget to subscribe, bottom right hand corner, and make sure to drop a like on the video as well. On today's stream, we're going to be talking about Carlos Baleba and apparently Brighton rejecting Manchester United's approach for the young midfielder. And we're also going to be asking the question, who should Manchester United sign instead? I want to get your thoughts on this in the comment section below. With Carlos Baleba now looking extremely unlikely, I'll bring you all the news in a minute, but with that deal looking unlikely, who would you turn your attention to now? Who should Manchester United be bringing in? Would you look at Hjulmand from Sporting Lisbon? Would you look at Edison from Atalanta? Would you maybe even stay in the Premier League and look at Adam Wharton from Crystal Palace? I want to get your thoughts. Let me know in the comment section. Who should Manchester United sign? Because we're crying out for a midfielder. I'm sorry. We're absolutely crying out for a midfielder. But I'll bring you guys the news first whilst you're kind of thinking about your answers. So this is coming out from David Ornstein last night and coming out from Fabrizio as well. We'll start with Fabrizio. So Fabrizio is reporting that Manchester United were prepared to do something big for Carlos Baleba in terms of proposal, but Brighton do not want to sell and have refused to even give a price. He says that Carlos Baleba's name will return in conversation for Manchester United when it's time to find a midfielder in the future. He's super appreciated and Amorim is a huge fan. It says United's answer to Brighton regarding Carlos Baleba: we have to understand and respect their position. The club will now move on to alternative options. That's from Fabrizio Romano. This was 9 hours ago, saying that Manchester United have not even been given a price by Brighton. They're saying, we're not going to sell him to you. We're keeping him. He's our player. The deal is off effectively. David Ornstein reporting that Manchester United not planning to proceed with Carlos Baleba this summer. It says indirect and direct contact between clubs, but Brighton have clearly stated he is not for sale and level of fees considered deal too high. 21-year-old midfielder keen on Manchester United, but not unhappy at Brighton. There you go. So Carlos Baleba to Manchester United. The dream is over, unfortunately, guys. He's not coming. It is disappointing. I'm not going to get overly worked up about it. I think I said to you yesterday, was it? We did a bit of a Manchester United prediction on where we'd finish. And I said, if we get Carlos Baleba, I think we'll get top 5. I think without him, I would say top 10 is realistic. Because I still just think we have a massive gap in our midfield. Maybe Manuel Ugarte steps up and maybe he becomes the player we hope he is. Maybe. Casemiro, maybe he has an amazing last season at the club and he bows out with his head held high. That's a possibility. It could happen. Maybe suddenly Bruno works in the more defensive midfield role. Maybe that works. Maybe Kobbie Mainoo suddenly finds the defensive capabilities to play as the number 6. But emphasis the word on maybe there. I said the word maybe 4 times. Carlos Baleba to me brought some certainty. He was a Premier League proven number 6. He was Brighton's player of the year last season. One of the best central defensive midfielders in the league by far, right? Whereas I'm sat here this morning saying, maybe Casemiro will roll back the years and be good again. Maybe Mainoo suddenly learns how to defend. Maybe Ugarte lives up to the price tag we paid for him. There's so many maybes here. It could happen. Football is a strange old sport. No one thought Leicester would win the league and they did it. But my heart and my brain tells me, from watching Manchester United for the last few years in the demise they're in, it's clearly obvious to see that the gaping hole is in that midfield. And Manuel Ugarte and Bruno, for me, it's just going to get run through every single week, I think. Hopefully I'm proved wrong. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I mean, we saw it in pre-season already, haven't we? So, I mean, I'm not really wrong, am I? We've literally seen in pre-season our midfield getting run through. Now, Hopefully Manchester United do still act in the market. Hopefully they're not just like, oh, we'll try and sign Carlos Baleba in 12 months. I mean, that's not good enough. 12 months is too long. 12 months, we probably won't be back in the Champions League again if we don't get a midfielder. I still think we need a midfielder and a goalkeeper, realistically. Even if we sign a midfielder, if Onana keeps making howlers like he does most games, we still could not finish in the top 5. Even if our midfield and our attack is good, if our goalkeeper's bundling the ball every time someone shoots at him, we're going to drop points, aren't we? So, yeah, it's not as simple as, sign a midfielder and we'll be good again. There still are other areas that we need to plug. But for me, when I look at it simplistically, I still just honestly believe that the midfield would have been a transformative signing. I think obviously we needed a number 9. We needed attacking midfielders. Obviously, Ruben Amorim doesn't really play like your typical wingers. He plays wing backs, doesn't he? So Ahmad will probably play as a right wing back, I imagine. And Dorgu Dallo will probably play as the left wing back. So that's fine. I have no issue with that. But yeah, the midfield is a huge, huge problem for Manchester United. Now, there is a report this morning, which I want to bring you, hence why I asked who we should sign instead. So there is obviously Morten Hjulmand, 26 years of age, Danish international. And there is a story this morning saying that apparently Manchester United are going to turn their attentions to Hjulmand. This is coming out from about 6 or 7 different newspapers this morning. Obviously, we haven't had a story from Fabrizio or from David Ornstein yet, so we've got to take this one with a pinch of salt. But apparently, Manchester United are lining up a £50 million bid for Sporting Lisbon midfielder Morten Hjulmand. He is obviously the captain of Sporting Lisbon, I believe, Danish international, very, very experienced player, 26 years of age, obviously played under Ruben Amorim at Sporting. He's exactly the kind of profile we need. He's got 3 years left on his contract, so it's not going to be an easy deal to do. Obviously, Sporting have lost their manager. They've lost Gyökeres. They've lost a couple of other players as well, I think, this summer. So it's not going to be an easy deal to do. Apparently, around £50 million is kind of like the price. Do I think we'll sign him? I don't think so, personally, but I would take him at this point. We need a midfielder. Maybe we get someone on loan. Do you know what I don't understand is, why did we not go for João Paulinho? He's just joined Tottenham on loan, right? I may have made that up, but let me just check. I'm sure he's joined Tottenham on loan. Yeah, he has. Yeah. Why did we not go for that? Loan signing, 30 years of age, Premier League proven, in the position we need. Why did we not go for Paulinho? I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Like, why? There's another story this morning as well, actually. I can answer this question. Apparently, Manchester United don't want to do any loan signings. Why? I don't get it. What's the reason for that? You have a Premier League proven midfielder in João Paulinho who is literally not getting game time at Bayern Munich for whatever reason, right? And Tottenham have gone and signed him. Tottenham have a better midfield than us already. And they've just gone and strengthened their midfield. So I think that was a massive mistake. I think João Paulinho until next summer would have plugged that midfield, and it could have meant that next summer we just go all out for Carlos Baleba. Whereas now, imagine if we have another bad season, no Champions League football again. Like, you know, we can't be out of the Champions League 2 years in a row. 1 year, fine, it's a blip. You move on, you make progress the next season. But if you're out of the Champions League 2 years in a row with a club of our stature, it seriously, seriously messes you up financially. Sponsorship deals change. You know, there is like a clause, isn't there, that Adidas pay us less money if we're not in the Champions League, etc. So we've got to be very, very careful. But I'd love to see what you guys would have to say about the midfield situation. Like, who would you go for? Ginge says we're going to get absolutely played off the park in midfield by Arsenal. Yeah, of course we will, mate. Of course we will. Crazy. Someone says Edison from Atalanta. Yeah, I'd take him as well. Adam Wharton, I'd take him. So somebody says, what's your thoughts on Ugarte? I mean, Ugarte had a pretty underwhelming first season, I'll say that. But I'll always give players 2 years before I judge them. So Ugarte was underwhelming. That's me being polite. His first season was underwhelming. Second season, which is up now, this is the one where he really has to hit the ground running, okay? Really, really needs to kick on. Needs to really build up some momentum. And he has to have an absolute banger this year. Ruben Amorim does as well. But let's move on from there. So, Carlos Baleba to Manchester United, not going to happen, unfortunately, guys. Not this summer anyway. I mean, it did feel a little bit too good to be true. So that one's not going to happen. But Hjulmand, apparently Manchester United are going to submit a 50 million bid. I'll believe it when I see it. Like I said, at this point, there isn't any tier one sources putting the story out yet. It's all, you know, it's all the, it's all like the kind of tabloid newspapers posting these types of stories, which I don't really think is true, but we'll see. But I think, to be honest, that's actually everything I had planned for the show today. There's not actually that much going on now. There's not really many outgoings going on. It's gone very, very quiet. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But it is very, very disappointing, if I'm being honest, that we've suddenly just feels like we've just fallen off a cliff a bit, with our transfer business. But anyway, thank you very much for watching, guys. Like I said, just a little short one today, just to bring you guys the big breaking news. I will be back tomorrow morning. Obviously, we've got a big game tomorrow. I hope you all have an amazing Saturday, whatever you're doing. Don't forget to drop a comment, leave a like, subscribe. This has been Daily Red Devil, and I'll speak to you all on the next one. Bye-bye.